Hey everyone, and thank you for joining us in this week's Business Bookend, where we are talking about the fear of failure and how the book Go for No addresses this. Let me first introduce everyone again. I'm Jalen McKenna, the prettiest one here, and with me, as always, is Nick Gumpert. Threw me off. We also have the mortgage mom of three, hashtag in front of that, Christina Moran, joining the conversation as well. So thank you, Christina, for joining Nick and I today. Um, Christina, how did you like the first two segments?
It was awesome, especially the first one. I love talking about kids and the difficult convos.
Yeah, we don't mess around here for some reason.
Yeah.
We go right
And I
into
could
it.
talk of I could talk about down payment assistance for days.
A good thing you get paid to talk mortgages then. So, and Nick, what do you think about Christina? How's she doing so far?
Brilliant. Giving us a ton of insight. I mean, she's in the shoes that we're not yet. So she shed some light on some difficult topics that I know you and I will be facing here soon enough. So, not to mention the expertise she's providing
Oh
with
yeah.
the the lending world. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, if you're just watching the quick hits, you better go jump back into the full episode so you can see exactly what we're referencing here. But let's now jump into this week's business bookend. Go for no. The full title is a little bit longer. It's go for no. Yes is the destination. No is how you get there. A very quick read for anyone and everyone that's a salesperson, and everyone is a salesperson. And if you think that you're not, definitely go to our previous episode where we talk about To Sell is Human by Daniel Pink and ask yourself this as well. Do you often find yourself afraid of failure? Do you avoid taking risks because you don't want to experience the pain of rejection? Well, if so, then this week's business bookend will be for you. So, in today's discussion, we're going to be talking about the importance of mindset in achieving success and providing strategies and tips for how to handle rejection and turn it into a positive force in your life. So, Christina, I thought for some reason there's Ben making his weekly. Hi, Ben, making his weekly cameo in the back. I love having Ben in the background. People ask me about him sometimes too. But you have not read this book, Christina, and neither have you, Nick, correct? Okay.
You know what though? It's not a hard concept to understand.
No, it's not. It let me do a quick summary of it's a nice storytelling. So if you enjoy those types of books like Seven Levels of Communication or um,
That's a great book. Great book.
Yeah, yeah. So that kind of story mode kind of walks you through it, and it doesn't feel like you're reading a business book. So that's the one benefit. The other benefit is it's like 82 pages long, and so very quick read. But the big concept that they try to get out of it is going to be no is not a bad thing. At the end of every no is the potential for the next yes. And if you know how many no's you need to get a yes, say it's five no's equals one yes and on average, then after five no's, you're feeling pretty pumped about that fifth phone call, fifth ask, fifth time you're knocking on a door because you're going to be expecting that yes, which makes life a lot better. And it makes it more manageable. And then the other thing is to not stop because of the not stop selling or not stop asking because in your mind you've already said no for whatever it is for the client customer, um and it's that don't allow your own price points or limitations to be the reason why you tell someone, okay, we're done, we're done. Yep, you don't want to buy any more than this. So let's jump into some things since all three of us, not both, all three of us are in the sales realm, even though it doesn't feel like it every day. We are as mortgage lenders and realtors. Um, what do you guys do to overcome that fear of rejection?
Christina,
Nick, you want to go first? Okay. So I think the first thing is just to do it. You have to just get in the weeds, get in the water, whatever it is, and start hearing the rejection. It's going to feel uncomfortable, awkward, awful. at first, but the more you hear it, the more you realize it could be an opportunity for your approach. Always looking to do better. And then the more no's you hear, the more it's all about numbers. For every few no's, there's going to be a yes somewhere in there. So the more numbers you have, the more you're going to have that opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. I love opportunity. That's a good way to put that. Nick, for you, what are some maybe challenges that you face of fear of rejection or worried about what other people are going to think, and how do you approach that?
Yeah, I am very mindful of how I frame questions because I think yes and no questions
Mm,
simplify things too quickly. So instead, I try to ask, how would you like that to be done? Or what would you like to see happen? Versus, do you want that to happen or not? When you start sentences or questions with do and can, they usually end with a yes or no response. Do you like that? Yes or no. Can you do
yeah,
that? Yes or no. Versus, how would you like to see that done? Now you have to think a little bit with regards to what is your preference for how you want to see it done. So that's how I try to purposefully navigate situations that I find myself in or I know I'll find myself in, is to think that through. So I'm not just winging it, but there's some thought behind it versus, dang, I just set this person up to say yes or no. So that's where my head goes.
yeah, and it's always too when you get that yes or no, you're like, dang, why did I ask it like that? I could have asked it in such a more elegant way, or I could have.
Yeah. Or follow up with another question to say, what is it? Yep.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's another good one too. I'm gonna make this look so good in post. You guys aren't gonna even recognize yourselves. Yeah. But yeah, so to Nick's point there, asking the right questions. And then also, I think this is a big thing that basically any business owner, small, large, any salesperson, anyone that's ever asked for anything, so everyone, we stop ourselves because we impose our own limitations on the person. So the big example that I can use is, say you're asking for a referral or who else you can help, and then they give you one person. You're like, oh wow, that was a I got a referral. I have another person I can help. This is amazing. And it's like, well, that's great, imaginary Jalen. But did you actually like did you ask for more? They gave you one, so they trust you. They know that you're going to do right by their friends and family. So did you ask for another one? It's like, well, no, they gave me a referral though. Again, great. But why didn't you keep asking for more? Like, great, who else can I help? Oh, that's awesome. Who else can I help? Christina, how do you kind of yeah, how do you go about that and not imposing limits, or is that something, I mean, I know that's something that I continually need to work on, but is what do you think of that concept?
Well, hearing you say it, I was like in my head thinking about all the times that I do that. I do.
Do.
Yeah, I was thinking the other day I had a lemonade stand for my kids and it was free, tips optional. And I swear my kids made more money doing that, by the way. And I remember there was a guy running, out jogging, which still is a concept I don't understand. And he looked hot, and I told the kids to offer him lemonade. And I said, just give it to him for free. He's out running. And he's like, no, no, I'll pay. Because the kids were like, no, he should tip us. And he looks at him and goes, I agree with the kids. I'm a salesperson. Like, I should be tipping them. And I'm like, I'm putting my limitations on this guy thinking he's out running. He should just get free lemonade. And the kids are like, no, he should tip us. And the guy straight up agreed with the kids. So he went down, got his money, and came back and tipped the kids because he was a salesperson and he agreed with the kids. And it was just right there. And then when you were talking, I thought about how I imposed my own limitation on my kids and this gentleman without letting him make the decision.
Yep. Yeah, Nick, I'll pose that one right to you, and Christina, you I'm gonna give you a benefit of the doubt, but I'm guessing the man was temperature wise hot because it's hot outside, but maybe
Yes,
he was
yes.
also just a smoke show, and
No, 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 no. He was no, I didn't mean like that. I meant like from running, like yes, face red as oh my God, no.
Jalen,
I'm
so
so
what is
sorry.
it that you're
That's not
wanting
what
me
I
to
meant,
answer?
Jalen.
Because my head's in a different space right now with this.
yeah. Well, the first question I want you to answer was he or was he not a smoke show? And then the second question that I want you to answer is how do you overcome self-imposed
Was not.
limitations? Okay, okay. But yeah, how do you overcome those self-imposed limitations?
So self-imposed limitations. Yeah, I think that is it comes back to I know we've talked about this topic numerous times in prior podcasts, but the self-awareness piece and the self-talk. I think those are massive, controllable. You're not reliant on someone else. You're reliant on yourself to recognize what mental barriers we pose against ourselves. And we forget, I think, too often on the negative effects that that can have and add up to real quick, if we're not careful and if we don't have that self-awareness to say, yeah, I did that to myself and I don't need to do that, and I can rewrite that story, like, and you don't have to wait till Monday to restart that story. You can restart on a Friday evening if things have been going south. You can restart that on a weekend, um, because I think there again, some people choose to say, yeah, this month is crappy and it's only like the 17th. They're just like, well, I'll just start again next month. You're just like, you're gonna wait 2 more weeks before you restart because you want this like mental idea to say that's a clean starting point. So there again, I think that's what it comes down to, is those constant reminders, and they have to be constant because I think we're very forgetful, and that's just normal to be forgetful, and to go down some slippery slopes that we all go down them. It's a matter of how can you quickly rebound from some of those
Yeah.
situations.
Yeah. The rebounding is the quickest. The let's each just go around the room real fast. Hit with how you overcome that or some kind of maybe something that you've learned to do. Like, oh, if I the one that I'll use as an example is split the day into quarters. So, your early morning, your mid morning to afternoon, early afternoon, and evening. Each one of those is a quarter, meaning that, if you failed waking up when you wanted to, you didn't go running in before you went to work. You weren't some crazy smoke show running down the street and there was some lemonade stand that you just sorry, Christina.
Yeah, I'm not gonna live this one down. It's okay. It's okay.
um, but that doesn't mean that the rest of your day is wasted. Maybe you give yourself the grace and you're like, okay, this quarter I could have done better, but now the next quarter that's going to be starting here at 9 o'clock, that's when I'm going to jump into next level and really crush it. Um, Christina, what are some things that you do to avoid that same thing?
So motivate myself. So I find some sentences in the morning that I can
Mm,
use to, focus on to kind of pump myself up. And then I just tackle it. And like you said, whatever I missed that prior quarter, how can I do it different? And then lists. I'm a big list person. If I can write it down and check it off, uh, that's kind of what works for me. So those are kind of my big key points right there.
yeah.
And having conversations with myself, like what Nick said, that self-realization. I think that's key. If you're constantly like, "I'm great, nothing can touch me," that's not good. I'm a smoke show. Um, you're never going to get anywhere. So being able to have those
Uh,
self-realizations of, I think it's a constant conversation. Like I'll get done having a conversation with a client while I'm waiting for them to submit that application. I'm like, okay, what could I have done better? How could I have said this better? Like I'm always talking to myself
yep.
internally.
Yeah.
So
Nick?
Well, I can't use a cop out and say affirmations because that is a part of what I do in the morning. So I'll segue into another part. And Christina alluded to this one, but I'll piggyback on the idea of reflecting. I think it's important to whether it's self-talk, whether it's journaling, and not just asking yourself what went well, but follow that up with a question with why. And
Mhm.
when you say what can I improve, follow up with a question with how, because I think too many people might say, well, I'm going to reflect and think about what went well, and then it stops there. And I think digging a level deeper is, why did it go well? What about that went well? And when you're just like, well, I'm going to do better tomorrow. Okay, dig a level deeper and ask the next question of, how will I get better tomorrow? And I think the more specific we can be, whether it be what we track, whether it be how we reflect, I think it's only going to help anybody get back on track when they fall off the rails a little bit.
That's a good point.
Yeah, that really well said. And I think with those, now everyone has something that they should be able to, I mean, find which one jives with you, you know, whether it's Christina and you're able to find those motivational quotes that you're just able to sit down and be like, this gets me pumped up, and finding a few of those that you can cycle through, breaking your day off into quarters, or even, yeah, finding out exactly. I like Nick's approach is very analytical, which makes sense for Nick, and I think it's actually a really good way to assess and reassess exactly what's working for you and how you're going to actually make it better. We've all done that where we're like, yeah, I'm gonna rock it tomorrow, and we do not rock it tomorrow because we didn't have a plan in place. We didn't know what to change. So I think any one of these three can definitely help. I know I'm going to be probably stealing both of theirs, in all honesty, because it's always good to have some extra backup things that you can use. But yeah, I'm going to call it for this week's episode of Business Bookend. So really hope that y'all enjoyed the discussion and mindset and overcoming failure, and that there was some value that you found in there. So remember, everyone is a salesperson, but now we are going to almost let Christina go first. Christina, how can people find you?
Numerous ways. You can email me. I think you're going to be putting that down at the bottom. Okay. You can find me on TikTok. I do TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. If there's more social media, I don't want to know about it. I'm capped out right now. I'm capped out. I do have a Twitter account, but it is only for Taylor Swift.
Oh, okay. Well, now that we
Jay, I
all
think we
know,
need to hit the rewind button.
yeah, yeah. I was gonna,
You might want to edit that out.
I was gonna say, now that we know more
No,
about
no.
Christina
The
on
hot seat.
I know.
Oh.
Don't you think that I forgot it? Don't you think I forgot it? Now that we all know where
Okay.
we can talk with Christina about the smoke show and maybe see if she knows his number. We know what neighborhood he lives in. So there's ladies out there, there's a chance. And then Christina, before we let you go, we now know where to find you, but we still need to know just a little bit more about you. And
Okay.
so, Nick,
We like to conclude our podcast with a few simple questions just to get a snapshot of those we know, like, and trust with an activity we call the hot seat. This is inspired by the great James Lipton, and he is late, unfortunately. So, with no further ado, Christina, what's your favorite word?
Legendary.
What's your least favorite word?
Liar.
What sound or noise do you love?
My kids snoring.
What sound or noise do you hate?
My husband snoring.
If you didn't do what you're doing, what profession would you like to do?
I want to be a cartoon voice, like a voice actor,
And what profession would you never like to do?
a lawyer.
And
I'm a
before you
horrible liar.
die, where must you visit?
France.
There you go. You know Christina just a little bit better, just like the rest of us. So without any further ado, Christina, thank you again for joining us today. And for wherever you may be watching and or listening, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. And we'll catch you back here, same time, same place next week.
Thanks, everyone.